Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakodash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule and teach well. And peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video. And in this video, I'll be profiling a little bit of this clip from Wyon's YouTube channel titled, Israel Attacks Gaza with Deadly Airstrikes, At Least 31 Palestinians Killed Within 2 Days, and the fact that violence is still taking place in the land of Israel just goes to show that those people over in the Holy Land calling themselves ISRAELISs aren't the true children of the Most High, because when the true children of the Most High would be back in the Holy Land, violence would no more be taking place there. As it says in Isaiah chapter 60 verse 18, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation and thy gates praise, point blank period. So, if those people over in the Holy Land right now aren't the true children of the Most High, then who are they? They're actually Amalekite Edomites who have appointed the land into their possession. As it says in Ezekiel chapter 36 verse 5, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is just the Greek way of saying Edom. And the biblical Edomites are known today as these so-called white people, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds, to cast it out for a prey. So as it says, the Edomites have appointed the land of Israel into their possession, setting the groundwork with the Balfour Declaration in 1918, and then further cementing the deal in 1948 with the Israeli Declaration of Independence. And immediately after that happened, you had the Arab-Israeli War. Then in the 1960s, you had the 6 Days War. And now you're constantly having conflicts in the Holy Land between those Amalekite Edomites, who for the rest of the video I'll be referring to as the 1948ers, and those Palestinian so-called Arabs, or Ishmaelites. Those 1948ers are also constantly doing airstrikes in Syria and fomenting for war against Iran. So those people over there do not fit any of the prophecies dealing with what the true children of Israel would be doing and going through when they were back in the Holy Land, but they fit the prophecies dealing with what the heathens would do when they got the Holy Land into their possession. And the true children of Israel are known today as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But now let's play a little bit of this clip. And this is a fair use copyright disclaimer. I do not own any of the footage in this clip, nor do I stand to gain from it monetarily. It is simply for educational purposes.
After more than a year of relative calm in the Gaza Strip, tensions have flared up yet again. As we speak, Israel and Palestine continue the exchange of rockets for the third day in a row. In an unexpected move, explosions were heard in Jerusalem, prompting sirens in the region. It signals the use of longer-range rockets by the Palestinian group. The Islamic Jihad group has confirmed the firing. This is the first time Jerusalem was targeted in the latest round of violence. The attack comes at a crucial time. Jews are currently visiting the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in Jerusalem for their religious holiday, and this could turn into a new flashpoint in the ongoing tensions. Israeli authorities have been extending their bombardment to the city of Rafah, bringing the death toll to 31, including 6 children. Within 2 days, 253 people have been left injured, with most injuries reported on the Palestinian side. Officials defended their move, calling it a reaction to a barrage of missiles fired by the Palestinian side. On Friday, an operation was launched against the Palestinian Islamic group. 2 senior leaders have been killed since then, Taysir al-Jabari and Khaled Mansour. Now, the Prime Minister's office has claimed that the rebel group in Gaza attempted to target Israeli authorities, but failed in its operation. The rocket fell short and landed inside Gaza in the city of Jabalia and ended up killing 4 children, among others. Hamas, on the other hand, has blamed Israel for the deaths.
Tonight, Islamic Jihad terror.
That's it with this clip, you get the point. But clearly, violence is still taking place in the Holy Land, again, because the true children of Israel are not in the Holy Land, but those Amalekite Edomites, those 1948ers are, and violence will continue to take place in the land of Israel until they're taken out. But now I'm going to go to 2 Kings chapter 17. I'm going to read verses 24 to 26 to show that whenever heathens were transplanted into the land of Israel, violence was taking place. And the king of Assyria, and this is speaking of Shalmaneser V, because it was the Assyrian Empire that took down the northern kingdom of the nation of Israel, the northern kingdom being known as the so-called Native Americans and Latinos today. It began with Tiglath-Pileser III, who had a policy of taking the original inhabitants out of the land and transplanting foreigners in there, and it was completed by Shalmaneser V. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuthath and from Ava and from Hamath and from Sepharvaim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, the northern kingdom, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And as we read in Ezekiel chapter 36 verse 5, Idumea appointed the land of Israel into their possession. And what's very spiritual about this is that the United States of America in the scriptures, besides being known as Sodom and Egypt in Revelation 11 verse 8, as well as Babylon the Great, is also known as spiritual Assyria, and who's the main ally of those 1948ers over in the Holy Land right now? The United States of America. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there that they feared not Yahweh. Therefore Yahweh sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the Most High in the land. Therefore he hath sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the power of the land. So when those heathens were transplanted into the Holy Land, what happened? The Most High sent lions against them that killed some of them. So violence was taking place amongst them. And it's no different with those 1948ers in the Holy Land. They're not the true children of Israel, hence why there's constant conflict taking place in the Holy Land. But now, I'm going to close it out in Micah chapter 4, verses 1 to 3, just to further cut those 1948er Amalekite Edomites and just show some other things that would be taking place when the true children of Israel, again, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans were back in the Holy Land. But in the last days it shall come to pass that the mountain of the house of Yahweh shall be established in the top of the mountains. And in the scriptures, mountains can be symbolic for governments. So this is speaking of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Israel, beginning with the elect of the nation of Israel. And at the head of the elect are the 144,000. And it shall be exalted above the hills, and people shall flow unto it. When the kingdom of heaven is established, it will be the reigning sovereign government for the rest of eternity. No other heathen nation will set itself up afterwards or overthrow the kingdom of heaven. And many nations, many heathen nations shall come and say, Come and let us go up to the mountain of Yahweh and to the house of the power of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. And are you seeing this with the majority of people towards those 1948er Amalekite Edomites? Are people wearing Shirley Temple curls, yarmulkes on their head, speaking Yiddish, or following after the Talmud? Of course not. A lot of people across the planet condemn those 1948ers for their constant violence towards those Palestinian Arabs, and they're against how the 1948ers are constantly pushing for war against Iran. For the law shall go forth of Zion, and the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem. And we also see that the law is not going forth from Zion, or the word of Yahweh from Jerusalem, over in the Holy Land right now. Those 1948er Amalekite Edomites are committing all manners of abominations. Tel Aviv is known as Pink City, and it's one of the pride hotspots on the planet. They have kosher pork, and they also have a parliament and laws that are separate from the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai in the scriptures. Verse 3, and he shall judge among many people and rebuke strong nations afar off, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. So not only would violence no more be heard in the Holy Land when the true children of Israel were back in the Holy Land, but also these heathen nations would no longer be fighting wars against each other at all. But as we just saw from that clip, violence is still taking place in the land of Israel, and also you've got wars taking place in the earth. You've got that conflict in Ukraine. You've got tensions rising between China and Taiwan. Israel is pushing for war against Iran, and World War III hasn't even taken place yet. So that's it with this video. And with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. Hey, we can see that these prophecies that Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai said would be taking place in the last days are clearly taking place right before our very eyes. So now more than ever, we should have all 10 toes down in this truth, pushing this word as hard as we possibly can to make our calling and election sure, and hope to be of that elect number, the first fruits of the kingdom of heaven, who are going to be at the head of establishing the kingdom of heaven and putting these heathen nations underneath our feet. And to you Amalekite Edomites, your time is almost up. The Most High is about to take you out of the land and put the true children of Israel back in the land. So as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharallah, and until next time, Shalom.